Hello, and welcome to Socially Holistic Podcast. Socially Holistic helps coaches and holistic entrepreneurs and women in heart-centered businesses make sense of social media so they can build their own online network and get more clients. As a heart-centered business owner, you do amazing work. Holly's mission in life is to help you help more people. Help us help more women in business with a 5-star review of this podcast. Please leave one today over at iTunes. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more heart-centered businesses will be successful. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Socially Holistic Podcast. This is episode 14. This is your host, Holly Wharton, and I'm here with today's special guest, Corrina Gordon-Barnes from You&rsquo.co.uk. Hello, Corrina.
Hi, Holly. Great to be here.
How are you?
Really, really good. Yeah, very fresh this morning.
Oh, excellent. Fresh sounds good. So, Corrina, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I was a teacher before. I was a teacher and I then discovered coaching, fell in love with coaching, and very quickly realized that if I were ever going to actually make a living as a coach and be able to fully become a coach, I had to learn how to do marketing. You know, it wasn't something that I knew. It wasn't something that I had any training in at all. So I went on this crash course trying to find out as much as I possibly can from all these amazing teachers and mentors and books and newsletters. Like, how do you actually market yourself when you're a one-person business, when it's not a big company, you haven't got an advertising budget, you've just got you and your passion. How do you market that? And that's what I got really excited about, and that's what I now help other people with.
It seems to me that a lot of solopreneurs have a major problem with marketing themselves. It's like once you've moved from either a corporate job or any kind of job where you're working on in a business, it's very, very different when you're marketing yourself because it makes it so much more personal.
Oh, yeah, it's agonizing. It's like all that, you know, in coaching we talk about gremlins or saboteurs. It's those voices inside which ask these ridiculous rhetorical questions that you can never answer, like, who do you think you are? Who's ever going to pay you? Why would anybody pay that much to work with someone like you? All those voices come up because you are selling yourself.
And I feel like being in business brings up a lot of our personal stuff as well, and a lot of that comes out, especially when you're marketing yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely. Fear of visibility. I actually went on a really interesting journey around my appearance. So I didn't used to ever like to do video, or, you know, if it was a Skype with someone, I would always say, can we just do audio? Because I just wasn't that happy with my appearance. And being in business, I decided to get fit. I decided to start wearing contact lenses rather than my glasses that I didn't really like, and started to really take care of myself in a way that kind of business, it made me address that area of my life that I was neglecting.
Wow, that's interesting. How business can also help us kind of down a personal journey as well, inside and outside.
Yeah, things like being assertive, you know, that's something that having really, as a teacher, I had to learn this as well, but having really clear boundaries and being assertive and saying no to often, you know, at this kind of stage of business, saying no to more things than you say yes to, which can be challenging if you're like a people pleaser or you're a yes person. Actually, I'm going to say no to this really appealing invitation. I'm going to say no.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit more about your business journey. How did you get to where you are today with your business? Once you started going through the marketing training and coaching, and what happened from there?
Yeah, so I was coaching one-to-one. That was really what I was trained in. That was my bread and butter. I was just doing one-to-one. And then I was working with a mentor, and he taught me through this exercise. It was an intuitive exercise, looking at how long my sessions would be. And I went into this intuition, and it said to me 90 minutes. And I was like, that's crazy. You don't have a coaching session for 90 minutes. It feels too long. And then he said, and how many people are you speaking with at one time? And I was like, oh my gosh, I am not just doing one-to-one coaching anymore. I am now going to start doing groups. It was like this kind of epiphany that just very intuitively, without really consciously deciding to, my business was being drawn in the direction of helping more people than just the hours I had in the day to work with one-to-one. So that was when I started running my Turn Your Passion to Profit group program that has now been going since 2010. Then from that, so I continued with one-to-one, I continued with the group programs, And then last year, I introduced the community meetups in London. So I really realized from these groups that people love to get together with like-minded others, to inspire each other, to get hugs, to feel kind of warm and in community. So the community meetups now happen as well. And then I added my kind of third string to my bow, which is then the blogging masterclass. So this is because I realized that I absolutely loved blogging. Mm-hmm. It came really naturally to me, and other people were not doing it, and they weren't having as much success in their business. Mm-hmm. And they didn't know how to do blogging. So then I started to teach that as well in a course, and I just love that.
Excellent. So it sounds like things have really, really shifted since that first intuitive session. I love how it was that you kind of looked into yourself, and that intuition helped you realize where you needed to be moving forward with your business.
Yeah, it was like it gave me a bit of information, and it was like, say yes to what's the next step. You're not gonna figure it out by sitting down and kind of making plans. You're just going to feel this urge to go in a certain direction. Mm. And I had this with the community meetups as well in London. It was just this urge, like, let's just put on an event where people come together in London. We have yummy food. Like, we smile, we hug each other. There's no pitching. And then that just happened. I kind of followed that urge. And then from that, it's become this really thriving thing that happens now regularly.
Mm-hmm. And I like the way you've taken your community offline as well, because I think a lot of us these days are very focused around building a virtual community through our blogs, through our websites. Some of us will set up forums and online communities and things like that. But you've also taken that offline, and that gives it a very kind of holistic approach, because you've got the online experience and the offline experience.
Yeah. Did you know a website can't hug you?
No, it can't.
Not yet. Maybe that's what.
That would be an excellent evolution of the website, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Wouldn't it be? And but then people go the other way, and people are like, only in-person connection is important. We're wasting all this time on social media, right? And I couldn't disagree more, because, and I love that you help people with social media.
Yes.
Because, like, when people meet at these in-person meetups, they're often meeting people that they have been seeing on Twitter, on Facebook, on my website, in the commenting section. Mm-hmm. So they already know each other a bit. So when they meet in person, they get to go to a deeper connection. So I actually see that social media helps facilitate deeper connections and more far-reaching connections as well.
I agree, and it also helps us stay in touch in between those kind of real-life offline events.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of social.
Excellent. And I love the way you've combined the two, because I know that, obviously social media is my focus, so I'm very, very focused on social media and meeting people online, but then sometimes I crave that kind of in real life connection with people.
Yeah.
So that's a good combination. So tell us a little bit about your Turn Your Passion to Profit program, because I think so many people struggle to find their passion in life, then they get clear on it, and then they struggle shifting it from a hobby to a business that actually turns profit. So how do you work with people to help them?
Yeah, and that is just heartbreaking, isn't it? The way I see it, like, someone's got all these gifts. They've often done a lot of training. Mm-hmm. So they've spent money, they've spent time, they've spent energy, they've become really, really good at whatever it is they do. And then without that marketing bit, they're the world's best kept secret. And they're just kind of in their own house, like, I'm amazing, but no one knows it.
Yeah, exactly.
So Passion to Profit is about teaching the fundamentals of marketing. So we look at really knowing your tribe. And this is something that I bang on about all the time. It's not like niche, like, oh, women in their 30s who X, Y, Z. It's much deeper than that. It's a tribe who congregate around a common identity. And knowing who that tribe is and actually becoming the leader of that tribe. I really like Seth Godin's work around tribes and leadership. Becoming that leader, your tribe just kind of come around you, and you're their guardian angel. You provide them with what it is that they are putting out. They're kind of putting out this message into the universe, like, I need something, I have this challenge, who is going to help me? And you as a business owner, your job is to be that guardian angel and make sure they can find you in that time of need so that they can then get the help that they need.
Exactly. It's all about attracting those people to you.
Yeah, and just being really, really visible, unafraid to say, this is who I'm here for, this is what I do. So in the program, we then go from tribe, we go to packaging what it is that you do, so it's an exact match for what people are looking for. So really hearing their needs. So I recommend people do research, and I give them a structure for how they actually do research in the real world, so that what they create isn't something that people go, oh, that's a nice idea, but no one actually buys. I'm really interested in actually buying.
I think that's very, very important distinction because, again, a lot of people will spend a lot of time creating programs and products and services and things, and they sound interesting, but no one is actually clicking to buy them.
Yes. I teach in the program to have a politeness radar. Like when people say, "Oh I think that's a really nice idea," that is not the same as, "Oh my gosh, I love that. Here is my wallet. Here is my PayPal click." Like there's nothing polite when you really want something.
Yeah.
It's not about politeness. It's not about making that business owner feel good. It's just that, oh my God, how did you know that this is exactly what I was looking for? I will happily pay you whatever you're charging because you are offering exactly the thing.
And I think it's also about speaking their language as well, using the words that they would use.
Yes. Well, this is then what we go on to. So we get packaging, pricing, we look at website, we look at list building, and we look at messaging. So actually using language that is heart to heart, and it is really seeing the world through the eyes of your ideal client. Because I think that's really, really important that they see the world differently from us. And we need to be able to get into that perspective to market really effectively. So I teach structures, templates for writing website copy, for having conversations if you're networking, so that you're never looking at a blank screen, you're never tongue-tied, standing in front of someone thinking, how do I describe what I do? I actually give templates for exactly how to say what you do when you're in conversations.
That's excellent. I think that's really, really useful for people that are just starting out, because it's like sometimes you just don't know where to start.
Absolutely.
And if you've got that template, then you can just kind of personalize it to yourself and to your business.
Yeah, and then when you're in that conversation with someone, like that comes easily then. So you can actually just be in conversation and you can hear the other person. Whereas when someone's like, oh my gosh, they said, what do I do? How do I describe what I do? Oh my gosh. And we just go into our own little world and actually we lose that connection with the person in front of us.
Exactly. And when you're having a business conversation with someone who might be a potential client, it's all about forming that connection and actually listening to what they need so that you can determine whether or not you're the right person to work with them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I also teach in the program, who do you not want to work with? So that's really important. And like you say, if you listen to people, you can tell, you're not for me, but I know who you would be good for. And I don't believe in competition. So if someone's not for you, you give them to someone else who is maybe what other people would see as your competition.
Exactly. And I love what you just said, because I always say that as well. I mean, I think we are all so unique, and especially with coaching, you're selling yourself because people either resonate with you or they don't.
Yes.
And there's only one you, so I truly believe that there is no such thing as competition.
Yeah.
Good. You talk a little bit on your blog, and you did a recent video about niching. Can you tell us what your take is on niching in a business?
Yeah, so that's really finding. There's actually there's an audio that I include in my book that I love, which is about whose guardian angel are you? And in this audio, I have the person listening. Imagine thinking that you're in a circle of people in like wherever you think angels live. You're a circle of guardian angels, right? And you're all going to go down to earth and you're going to go be some group of people's guardian angel, right? So you're a guardian angel for these holistic entrepreneurs who want to learn social media. And it's like, that's your job. That's your job description that you take on as this guardian angel. And you head down to earth with this purpose. And that's what you do. And so your tribe are those people, your niche are those people who you've got the perfect gift for, which really fits what you most love to do with what they most need.
Excellent. I love how you talk about how that's that perfect fit, because I think a lot of people, when they start out in business, they're really desperate to get clients, either because they've spent so much money on training and they've gotten themselves into this financial situation where they absolutely need to start generating money, and they're so desperate that it's like they try to sell themselves to everyone without focusing on that ideal client.
Yeah, the way I describe it is that you need to become a beacon for your absolute perfect people. So it's like, here I am. So actually, when I first started out coaching, I was coaching teenagers. So I was this beacon for teenagers, and their parents specifically would pay me to work with the teenagers. So there I am, like a lighthouse, kind of putting out my beacon. But of course, the thing about a beacon is that everybody else can see you too. And what I say is your very beaconness is attractive. So of course, there was me saying, I work with teenagers. And then you would get this middle-aged woman saying, can you help me? And then I started saying that I worked with women who wanted to find their passion. That was kind of my next iteration of my tribe. I was like, right, I help women find their passion. And of course, I'd get a call from a guy saying, can you help me find my passion? So people will always ask you. People love, that kind of playing hard to get when you're in a relationship. People want to be with you because they're like, oh, she's kind of clear and specific. And then they want to work with you. And of course you can. You don't have to then just stick with your niche if you want to work with more people, but be very niche in your marketing.
I think that's a really, really good point, because I think so many people feel like, oh, but if I niche, then I'm just, turning away all these people. And that's not necessarily true. It's just how you express yourself.
For me, it's definitely been the opposite. So the more that people stay general and kind of talk to everybody, I know it's a cliche, but they are talking to nobody. Nobody really feels seen and heard by that.
I agree. And it's like you're watering down your message because you're trying to appeal to the entire world when really not everyone is going to want to work with you.
Yeah, I had a client who was saying that, she had this picture on her website. She does birth work, and she had this picture of a woman kind of half naked, like, breastfeeding a child. And she was like, I can't have that picture up there because then what if someone is in the corporate field and they just find that image really off-putting? It's like, well, look, if you take out that image and you take out this image and you take out all your beliefs, like, you're just going to be no one. You're just going to be nobody. You're just going to be like a cardboard cutout of a person. And, I said to her, like, would you want to work with this person who's offended by a picture of a half-naked breastfeeding woman? And she's like, yeah, no, I wouldn't really want to work with them if they didn't find that okay.
I think that's a really, really good point. Just getting clear on who you want to work with and who you don't, and which parts of you are the important parts that you really, really need to express.
Yeah, they're your gold dust, that's what makes you stand out, is your authenticity and what is you. People love people. I find that my blog posts that get the most comments and the most feedback to me are the ones where I've exposed a little bit about myself, about my life, about maybe something that I found hard or something in my personal life. People love that you're a real human being.
Exactly. And that you're not perfect, and that you also go through personal growth. Absolutely.
There's something very, very safe. I think it feels very safe when someone is being real like that.
Yeah, it just shows that authentic self. All those different aspects of you. And I think a blog is a great place to do that.
Yeah, I've not found anything better. It could be written blogs, it could be video blogs, but just that way, because for marketing, it is about people, again, it's a real cliche, coming to know you, like you, trust you.
Yeah.
And a blog means that you're showing up regularly, you're showing up consistently. People really get a sense that they can trust that you're around, you're here to stay, you're consistent to your message, and they then feel safe enough to become your clients.
I agree. So tell us a little bit about your blogging masterclass. You've been blogging since 2006, I think.
Yeah, gosh, if you read my early blogs, they were so rubbish. Like, they were cute little kind of vignettes of things that I had, like, oh, I love my garden. This is the things that I've noticed in my garden today. And they were just me thinking out loud, me thinking with my fingers on the keyboard and just wondering if anyone might be interested. And what I've learned since then, as I've built a community, I've built a readership, is how to match what it is that you want to say with what your ideal clients want to hear. And so having every blog be very strategic, that you're really aware of what it is that you're selling. So in the masterclass, we look at what is it you're selling, who is it you're selling to, and then how do you, every blog post you write, weave in the fact that if someone then is reading your blog and they want more, this is how they can become your client. And it becomes very smooth, because people worry about being salesy in blogs, or being too kind of hobbyist and like saying nothing that's to do with their business. So in the course, it's looking at how do you be interesting and yourself in a way that, in such a way that it actually sells what it is you're wanting to sell. So it's a 6-week course, and we actually do it as a blog. So the actual private site that we use, I'm using a blog format to teach the modules. So the 12 modules are taught through the format of a blog. So you're actually learning about blogging from within a blog.
Excellent.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so that gives people hands-on experience in actually doing what you're talking about.
Absolutely. They can see like, oh, okay, this is how you put an image there and this is how you comment. And what's great is they get feedback. So they get my expert guidance, they get the modules, they get every one of their questions answered, and they also get feedback from the other people on the group. So right from the get-go, they're not blogging out into a vacuum. They know that they've got X amount of people who are going to be reading their blogs, commenting on their blogs, maybe sharing their blogs, and that gives them the momentum in the beginning. So it's not a feeling like they're just blogging to some kind of ghost town.
Which is how it is for most people when they start out blogging.
Oh, yeah. You look back at my early blogs, like zero comments. And what I love about that, people say, oh, but no one's reading my blogs. And then they also say, oh, but my blogs are crap. And I'm like, well, that's a good combination.
That all makes sense now.
It makes sense. It makes sense that your early blogs, where they're a bit crap, you have no one reading. And then as you get better, you get more readers. And as you get more readers, you get better. And you build it up until your blog is really working for you. And for me, it's the number one thing that I do to grow my business.
And how often do you blog? Because I know a lot of business owners feel like they absolutely have to blog once a day, and I really don't think that that's true. I mean, I think as long as you show up on a regular basis, that's important. How often do you blog?
Yeah, it's the regularity that's important. So for the first X amount of years, probably the first 8 years or however many years I've been blogging for, I blogged twice a month. And that really worked for me because I was doing all the tech myself. I was having to write the thing, I was having to go into my WordPress and put it all in and find the picture and put it all in there. I was having to then go into my email list and put it in there and go into social media. And I couldn't have done it more than that and really still run a business. Whereas now I have a team, so I now blog once a week because they're doing everything apart from the writing.
Excellent. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think a lot of people also take a long time to start outsourcing things. And I think part of it's because they don't realize which things that they can actually outsource. So I do agree with you that actually writing the blog post is really important because that's about sharing your authentic message in your authentic voice. What else do they do for you then? They take that blog post and put it into WordPress and...
My rule of thumb with hiring a team, and actually I don't kind of outsource, I'm more in-source in that I actually have, I don't have any virtual assistants. I have my tech guy who is part of You&Inspire Me. I have my community support who is part of You&Inspire Me, and I also have my creative director. So I've actually built a team kind of within the company, which really works for me. I feel that I've now got a team, for me as a business owner, I'm not alone. I've got my buddies, we're building this business together. And so basically my rule of thumb is if someone else can do it, they should do it. And I'm only left then with the things that only I can do. Like none of my team could be here having this conversation with you right now. None of my team could write a blog because that's my voice.
Exactly.
None of my team could do my speaking or deliver my modules of my programs. So I've really just focused, this is my zone of genius, to use the idea from the book The Big Leap, that you find that zone of genius where you're absolutely doing your best work, and then everything else, so for me it's emails, it's social media, all of that I'm actually giving to my team to do once I've given them the content for that.
Good. What would you say are your top tips for turning your passion to profit?
So know who it is that you are trying to reach, know who it is that you are here for, and start speaking directly to them in everything you do. Here's a tip that I teach specifically with blogging, but also across the marketing board. With everything you do, write for one person or speak to one person. So whether it's a social media status, whether it's a blog, whether it's a module, actually picture your ideal client, the client that would be just the dream to have there in front of you, and write it, create it for that one person, because then it feels really connected.
And personal.
Yeah. The other thing is around pricing. The way I teach pricing, your pricing is just a fact. When you find that price, and I teach, again, an intuitive way of doing pricing, when you find that price, there is no question mark in your voice because you aren't choosing your price. You're not like kind of figuring it out and going, do you think this is right? It's just that you found this intuitive price. That's it. There's no question mark, and it's got nothing to do with you. It's your gift comes through you to your people, and their money comes through them to you. And it's just a very natural energy exchange. And when people really get this, pricing becomes a no-brainer. It becomes non-emotive. It becomes non-personal. It's got nothing to do with their self-esteem anymore. It's just, that's my price. You can't afford it. Oh, cool. We'll have this, have something different instead, but I'm not going to do a discount.
I love that because I think pricing is such a huge issue for so many women in business.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That we so often collapse around price. We do discounts, we do freebies, we have a question mark. I like to think of it like if you walked around a shop and you found a dress that you really loved and it had the price tag, let's say £75 on it, but it had like a question mark off. like, is that okay? Like, when you hear us in business, sometimes having conversations like it's £75 a session. Is that okay? Who's going to say yes? You need to say it with absolutely no question mark. It's £75.
Yeah, I love that.
The person says I can't afford that, and you just say okay. Like imagine again, like a shop assistant in a shop. Oh, this dress is £75. I can't afford it. It's too expensive. What are they going to do? They're going to say okay. Cool. Like come back when you can afford it.
And that's the good thing about having a blog, because through the blog you're providing so much useful content that's helping people for free. So if they can't afford your services now or your products, they can go to your blog, learn more about you, learn more about what you teach, get some great content, and then come back when they actually can afford something that you offer.
This is one of my absolute favorite things about blogging. Exactly what you say, that you are as generous as you can possibly be through your content marketing. And it means you never need to feel bad. When someone says they can't afford it, it's like, cool, well, look, I've got 150 blogs that you can go read completely for free. You never need to give me a penny and you're going to get all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. So before we wrap things up, I wanted to ask you, are there any women business mentors that you have? Are there any women in business who inspire you?
Yeah, there are three that come to mind. So Marie Forleo is someone I have followed for years, and last year took her program B School. And what I really love about her is her clarity, that she's got a very, very clear and streamlined business model. She only seems to be selling one thing, really, which is B School, which is this one business program.
And she launches it once a year, I think.
And it's once a year, exactly. And then she blogs once a week. She does a video blog once a week. So there's not all this kind of clutter that you see in businesses where it's like, there's this program and that package, and it's just really streamlined. So that I really love. I also really love Alex Franzen, who, do you know her?
Yes.
Yeah, she just is, like, I love words. And I'm pretty good with words, but this woman is like off the chart with words. I want to eat her words. They're so delicious. I go through, I could go, like some people might go have a bar of chocolate. I go through her Twitter feed like, yum. It's just so delicious. And the way that she communicates, I've done a lot of kind of learning about marketing, which has a lot of formulas and templates, which can be really useful. But she has this way of it being so real and so heart to heart, that means you can use any template but fill it with authenticity and love. And then my third one would be Jac McNeil, who is a wonderful friend and colleague of mine. And we have a chat by Skype every 2 weeks. She's a woman entrepreneur as well. And we just get it really real. So we turn up and we say, I had this client situation, it was really hard. And this really annoying thing happened. And we keep it really real. There's no pretending. We've both cried with each other on the calls. We've never met each other in person, but she's in Nova Scotia, in Canada.
Not quite right around the corner.
Not quite, hey, let's meet up at a cafe. But by Skype, we've become such good friends, and social media has really helped, cement that connection as well, because I just find her incredibly authentic and real and so good-hearted. And yeah, so they're my three who I love.
Thank you. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners about anything, whether it's blogging, business building, niching? Yeah,
one of my favorite things to remember is that it's your duty to market. And it's actually very selfless. So people worry like, I'm going to be annoying people by marketing, or, I'm a terrible selfish person that I want to make money doing this. And I actually think the opposite is true. If you don't market, people won't know about you. If you don't set good prices, you can't stay in business. And if your gifts kind of go off the radar, if they come out of public use, is a massive loss to our society. And so anytime that you feel like you're holding back on your marketing or you're staying small with your pricing, just remember that you are a gift to the world, and you must make us know you're there and let us have you, basically.
I love that idea. And I think that makes it so much less personal. It's like reminding you that you're doing a service to humanity and to your target market of clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And that applies whether it's something really obviously kind of service, like coaching or massage, but it also applies to people who do translation or style or design or photography, which don't look, they're not like helping, healing kind of looking professions. But actually, that can make people's lives so much easier to have those kind of services in their life. So don't make up that some things are more worthy or more helping than others. If your desire is to serve, then we need your gifts.
And if you're providing a service, you are serving people. So,
yes, it's there in the words.
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to include all of the links to where people can find you online in the show notes. But I'd also like you to mention briefly, where can people find you?
Yeah, so the website is youinspireme.co.uk. So that's whole words, Y-O-U. You inspire me, because you do inspire me. So youinspireme.co.uk, and come, and on the main page there, you'll see the blogs that I write every week. So come along. I would just go through them, sign up to receive those blogs to your inbox. So actually leave your name and email address on one of those blogs or at the top or bottom of the page, and you'll get those blogs, and you'll also hear about the two courses that I mentioned, the Turn Your Passion to Profit and the Blogging Masterclass. And if you're in London, then come to the meetups. Come get a hug.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Corrina. It was so lovely to have you as a guest today.
My total pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And thank you for listening. And remember to visit sociallyholistic.com/SHP14 for the show notes on this episode. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Really, really
lovely to have you. And thank you so much for sharing such great information. I really, really love your approach to business.
Thank you very much. And I love the links that you share on Twitter. You're one of those people that I always know I can rely on to have good content. I slide you all over onto Pocket. Do you use Pocket?
I do use it. Not as much as I should, though.
Yeah, when I go through my Twitter feed, I'm like, another one from Holly into Pocket. Yeah, so thank you for that. I'll see you over there.
That's good to hear. And I guess I will see you this weekend at Kath Watkins' event.
Yeah, how awesome. That's great. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, great. Well, then I'll see you tomorrow then.
Awesome.
And thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the Socially Holistic Podcast with your host, Holly Wharton. Please help us help more women in business by giving us a 5-star review of this podcast. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more successful businesses there will be. So please leave a 5-star review today over at iTunes. Thank you.